Hello, this is CRS from Cirrosis, and you're watching Metal Robot.
Initializing video. Metal interview. Welcome to the program. This is Metal Robot Reviews.
Welcome to the Metal Robot Reviews channel. I'm your host, Tom McKay, and today we are sitting down over Skype with a band that answers the question of, how do we make the IRS interesting? It sounds confusing, but let me explain. You take the I of IRS, and you bend it into a C, and you got CRS. We're just forcing in a joke here to try and introduce the band.
God, my channel sucks.
Sir Oz of CRS over Skype right now. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm Duke. How are you going?
I'm doing pretty good. You guys formed almost 30 years ago, and it's been about 20 or so years, 20 years, yeah, since your last album, and there hasn't been much since. So I gotta ask, what have you guys been up to in that period of time?
We started the Bunny in 1991, like a garage band, and we used to have a lot of local gigs, and we were doing our best, trying to show what we can say as teenagers with a lot of anger against a society with many things that we don't really like it. We kept together until 1999, and we recorded our first album called Reciclando Desesperación. And after that, we decided to stop to play because we have many things to do in the professional lives, in personal life. But we kept some songs, and people always was asking to us to when we are going back, and then we decided to record a new album 3 years ago. We always kept in contact. My best friends are the CRS members, and we have a lot of contacts, no problems at all with any of us. But we kept busy for several years. It's really hard in a country like Mexico. Just be focused on a band, especially when you are talking about a death metal band. There is no way to make a living from a metal band.
Your new album, The Collector of Truths. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's the first album in 20 years. So you were talking about you took a break because you wanted to focus on professional life. What gave you that drive again?
When we finished the first album, we have 2 or 4 songs, and we really like it because you are mature the song, you are working better in the songs, and we'll always thinking about that songs, and we want to record it again, and that's one of the first motor, the first motive to do it again. And we need to rescue that songs and try to record them, and I guess that's the most important thing, trying to rescue the songs and show that we have something to say to the people.
For this album, you actually got the chance to work with Kevin Talley of Dying Fetus and Linus You got the chance to work with Linus as well. What was it like working with other musicians on this album?
It was a really good experience to us, living in a country like Mexico with not many structure. We were always trying to show that we can do music with an international level,
How did they get in contact with you for this album? I'm just curious about this because there's a thing that I've talked about before on this channel where, some genres have a hard time being able to get their bands to differentiate themselves from each other. Like, a lot of the bands tend to sound a lot alike. So is there anything that you would say you do differently from the rest of death metal as a whole?
I guess that the most important thing that we try to do in this album is try to offer a dynamic sound. Then we try to show different styles of death metal, of technical death metal, then every song is different between each one. We were trying to keep the root of our lyrics focused on ourselves. You know, most of the times people are talking about external factors like war, serial killers, or something like that. But in our case, we are most of the time talking about us, the fear of being yourself, you know?
So basically what you're saying is, while other bands will talk about coming blood and smashing people in the face with a hammer, you guys are talking about your inner demons and being able and fearing of being yourself.
We deal with issues like depression, anxiety, panic, you know, and most of the time actually it's a fight between you and yourself.
Well, it's good to know that your lyrical content is a lot more relatable than just getting fucked with a knife. It's a lot more relatable for a lot of people. So building off that last question, you may have touched on it a little bit. Is there anything that this album does differently from your debut? Like, what can fans expect from this upcoming album?
Yeah, okay. In our first album, we have more a death metal root, the old death metal root, and we really like it. But in this album, you can find a better structure, more fluid songs. We combine melody, slow parts, slow solos, beautiful solos, with energy, brutal energy, and all the death metal force. You can find more thrash parts. You can find technical death metal. You can find jazz. You can find brutal death metal, blast beats. You can find everything, groovy part, because we always have a really good influence from bands like Strapping Your Lats or Fear Factory, for example. And we put that into death metal, and we like that song.
Is there anything that you would actually like to say to any newcomers watching this video that would be able to get them into your music?
Give us a chance. In these times, the most difficult thing is that people give a play to you. You know, as a Mexican band, Latin American band, and in a world with so many thousands of bands, sometimes it's really hard to get new audience. They can find something really good in metal, and I'm not talking only about CRS. There are plenty good musicians in Latin America.
Finally, the final question. This is probably the most important question that I'm going to ask you, and I ask this of every band that I interview. So important. This question is, if you could be any cereal box character, who would you be?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's of many importance.
Hey, I agree with you. Captain Crunch. He's a revolutionary naval guy, you know? And I really like people who try to change the war. And I guess the Captain Crunch do it really good.
I'm so glad you had a badass explanation as to why you would be Cap'n Crunch. If that's not metal, I don't know what is. Like, that's awesome. So thank you so much, Sir Oz, for sitting down with me. Once again, The Collector of Truth will be available December 6th of 2019 in physical form, as well as in digital. Links will be down in the description for that. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Anything you want to say to close out the video? Please watch Metal Robot interviews and reviews. Stay brutal! Thank you so much for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the mosh pit next time. Have a good night.